Hour 2 is brought to you by Canadian Blood Services. Give hope to patients in Canada. Register online at blood.ca/getswab and spread the word amongst your family and friends. All right, we keep the fun going. Our good friend Matthew Barnaby joins us. For my money, the greatest hockey analyst out there. And Barney, I don't know if you saw us talking earlier, or if you saw the ranking from The Athletic of the NHL owners from 1 to 32. Did you see that, or did you see us talking about it earlier?
No, I saw you talking about it, and always great to be with the RP. Obviously, you know how much I appreciate you and love your body of work. But no, I didn't see it. I did hear it. I could have told you number one was Michael Andlauer. Without a doubt, one of my best friends in the world is Jay McKee. He was with the Hamilton Bulldogs under Andlauer. They just sold now, being in Brantford, to Zach Hyman. But nothing but glowing things to say about Michael Andlauer, and living in Ottawa 6 months of the year now, I know the great things that he's doing. And obviously it's not hard to live to and terrible to say when someone passed away, but it wasn't a great ownership group before with Eugene Melnyk.
Well, I should point out, he is number 1 in Canada. 9th overall, Ottawa, Andlauer. Number 1 was the Tampa Bay Lightning. Number 2 was the Florida Panthers. And I feel like you're spending a lot of time in Florida. Have you soaked up and realized this is the hockey capital? I'm sorry, Barney. It is.
It's awesome, man. I'm at the Fort Myers Airport right now, headed to Saskatchewan for a Hockey Helps the Homeless event for the next 4 days. I love Florida. I love what the Florida Panthers are doing. I played in Tampa. I know people that work there, and it really is. It's got to be disheartening for a lot of franchises out there that have never won a Stanley Cup, and to see where these ownerships have led these franchises and where they are and how happy they are. And when people are free agents, or a guy like Brad Marchand is like, that's where I want to go, that says a lot.
I saw your photo of the alligator in, I can only assume, a canal the other day. Or what the hell was that all about? Was that wasn't fake, was it?
No. They actually got a notice from our condo association that there was an alligator in there. So I actually did my walk like I do every morning with my coffee, and I saw the little guy. I wouldn't be afraid of him. He's not that big, but obviously he could do some damage. They're more afraid of you than they are, like, literally. I tried to get a picture closer, and he just scurried off into the water. But yeah, it's a different. I haven't seen a snake yet, though.
Well, and God willing you won't, but just like Saskatchewan, like a wolf or a coyote, they are more afraid of you unless they're hungry. So don't screw with it. Yeah, and Barney, the last place owner was the Buffalo Sabres, number 32. And I got to be honest, this is what I see. You know, I've never talked about this, but I feel like you're trying to bridge a gap and be supportive of them, and it's not happening. What's up with the Sabres and you and the Sabres and everything to do with the Sabres?
Well, I've been very critical just of the last 14 years. No one should go 14 years without making a playoff run. Listen, I'm a New York Jets fan. We know that. It's two franchises. The difference is the Buffalo Sabres mean so much to me. The fans mean so much to me. And I can just tell you from the fans' perspective, the alumni perspective, it's like they don't care anymore. And I'm not saying that they don't. It's just from the outside looking in. Like, if you go back 10 years ago, the Pagulas were making trades on their own. And you can frack oil. You can be the wife of a guy that fracks oil and worth $6 billion. Doesn't mean you can make trades. Kevin Adams has not been great. Jason was not great. The hiring were not great. When you hire a guy like Ralph Kruger, but ownership overstepped their. Now they've went to the other side, and in the NFL, you're kind of guided on how to hire GMs and coaches. There's a committee that is actually put in place in the NFL to help businessmen with lots of money hire the right people. Unfortunately, the Buffalo Sabres haven't been able to have any success because of, I don't want to say the lack of funds, because they did unload money at the start, but seems like they are the stepchild right now. It's all about the Buffalo Bills, not the Buffalo Sabres. And that's disheartening because I just know that this fan base deserves it. They're so great. And I know it's not a happy place there for people. And when you look at no trade clauses and people wanting to waive, no one wants to go there. And everything that comes out of Pagula hasn't talked in a long time, but Kevin Adams, it's not a desirable place for very many reasons. First of all, they're not successful. It's cold. Third, the taxes are really high. And as Kevin Adams says, there's no palm trees. Crazy.
It's funny you say that. Okay. So Jay in Winnipeg writes in, he says, I can't wait for Chevy to fleece the Sabres again. Never change, Sabres. Allie in Texas writes in, she says, poor Buffalo. That's true, but I've been with crappy teams. Nobody felt sorry for us. But Bomber Boy writes in, and he says, it's more about the no taxes in Florida than culture or anything else. Buddy, stick it. What about the last 25 years before the last 5? There was no taxes then either. So they did change. You know what I'm saying? From 93 to 2020, that tax situation was the same, Barney. That really pisses me off when people put it on that, especially hockey people.
Yeah, listen, when you're a free agent and you talk about Vegas or Florida or Texas, whatever it may be, and there's no taxes, does it play into it? Yeah. Does it play into right now where Brad Marchand waives his no trade clause? No, because it's not affecting him in a short term. He knows it's a great organization. They've had success. Is it a little unplay field to be able to acquire guys at maybe 8 million instead of 9 million, whatever the number may be? Yes, but it's how they treat their players. I've known Billy Zito a long time. He was the agent of my first pro roommate in Doug McDonald. He's a class person and he does things the classiest way. And I think that goes a long way. You look at maybe a Chris Drury in New York and the way that they've conducted business. It really resonates in the room and through players throughout the league when they're deciding whether they're going to waive their no trade clause. Listen, no taxes, no state taxes obviously helps, but an organization that has had success treats their players right. That goes a lot further than making $100 million and making an extra couple $1 million along the way.
Well, the Panthers tell me that they are not allowed to do their deals based on that tax structure. 8 million here is like 8,000. Sorry, 8 million. 8,000 in Ontario. No, 8 million in Ontario. Same deal. They're not allowed to factor in the taxes. I'm serious. That's what they tell me, and I believe it to be true. And with Zito, he's just a rank and file guy, just a normal dude, right? He was the clubhouse boy for the Milwaukee Brewers. I met his dad. They're a blue-collar, hard-working Pennsylvania family, and they run the team. This was the best compliment I heard about him, was that he runs the team the way we all of us foot soldiers, Barney, all of us peasants that came up. You know, he just runs it the way we all would if we had a chance.
He would. He's a class guy. Listen, I met him when I was 20 years old, and he treated me like I was Wayne Gretzky, and I was Matthew Barnaby that was barely making the Rochester American. So classy guy, went through the ranks. He gets it. I think you have to get it. Like, people that get it, well, I don't care what business. You do your show, you do events, treat people with class, and you will get class and loyalty in return. There's always going to be outliers, and you're always going to have certain individuals that maybe don't fit in, and you're going to make a few mistakes along the way. But when you run a class organization and you're a class person, I always go back to a guy like Dale Talon. You know, he bought me out after signing me after my first year on a 3-year deal, but he was classy in the way that he did it, and I love Dale Talon. He's just a great person, and I've had people that fluff me and sign me for 3 or 4 years that I wouldn't give the time of day to these days. So when you build an organization, when you build a business, just treat people with respect, and people will have loyalty back to you.
I'll tell Dale you said, hey, because I see him every game here, pro scouting for Vancouver. So, Barney, you got to get over here and watch the game, by the way. So, Ali, okay. Troy in Toronto writes in, he says, if you are a great franchise And regarding winners, taxes won't matter. Players will come. And my last one, Barney, because obviously you have a flight to catch. Allie in Texarkana says the no tax thing is pretty nice when you live in a state that does that. I want to ask you about Dallas because she's a Stars fan. She watches this show for the hockey because you don't get any in Texas, as you know. I read your book, and that was the last team you played for. And I feel like that was hard when you had to shut her down. How could it not be? Tell us a good story of your time in Dallas, Barney, because it's such a grand town.
Yeah, it's an awesome place. I didn't envision it being my last year. I was obviously let go by Chicago, bought out by Dale Talon, and then went to Doug Armstrong called me, and we had a great conversation. I was still getting paid from Chicago at the time through the buyout, and Dave Tippett. Listen, I loved my time there. I love the people there. They were fantastic. And honestly, I wish I stayed in Texas because Texas is one of my favorite states. Just the food is great, the people are great. Everything's bigger in Texas, as they say, and it really is true. But I loved my year there. If I regret one thing was not staying in Texas for a little bit longer because I had a great time. But the Dallas Stars were terrific with me. Everything along the way. I got hurt halfway through the year, but a funny story is like Mike Modano was the captaincy was taken off him. It was given to Brendan Morrow at the start of training camp. So it was a little awkward. And I love Doug Armstrong. I love Dave Tippett. I think it could have been handled a little differently, but it was funny because they're like, neither guys are really that outspoken. They're like, Barney, you're not one of our captains, but would you be comfortable like talking to season ticket holders and doing like team stuff? I was like, yeah, right away. So we went actually to Tampa. We had 4 days in Tampa. I'm like, can I run everything for our team off ice? So literally created like a scavenger hunt for all our team. Well, my team ended up like 7 guys, and we ended up at the pool. I had everyone end up at the hotel pool, and we weren't playing for like 2 days, but we all had a Coors Light in our hand. We stopped at a store. We all had Speedos on, and we just jumped in the pool. We came out. We had to drink a beer. If you drank beer at the time, you'd come out and drink it. And Tip and Army were like, yeah, that's exactly what we thought you'd be like.
Well, hey, and by the way, I love how in Canada we say Modano. In America, they say Madonna, and I'm not even sure what's right. It's probably Madonna, yeah, given the fact that he's from Michigan. But, hey, lastly, Ted in Red Deer writes in, he says, by the way, for those who haven't read it, Barney's book is a great read. Folks, it's fascinating. I told you, I think it's a how-to book. How's sales going? And I'm sure you were glad you did it.
Yeah, you know what? I honestly don't pay attention to sales. I didn't do it for that perspective. It was kind of a cleansing and clear the air of a lot of things that went on off the ice, and an appreciation of people that helped me get to what I was able to accomplish in the National Hockey League. And that was what it was for more than anything. It was a year-long project, and it's for a guy that only graduated 11 and a half years of high school. It was a big project, but listen, it's one of the favorite things I've ever done. I would never do it again because it's really hard to write 75,000 words, and without a ghostwriter and without an editor, would never came to fruition. But I'm very glad that I wrote it. I'm very proud of it as well.
You should be, and I wish we'd known each other. I would have helped you with that. I've written 3, and I can attest there is no easy way to write a book, Barney. So we can say that you are a best-selling author and you star at everything you do. Okay, safe travels. Say hey to all my folks in Sask.
I will. Love you, buddy. See you soon.
Love
Say
you
hi
too,
to Dale
buddy.
Talon.
All right. I won't forget. Trust me. 18th all-time in NHL penalty minutes, Matthew Barnaby, and I love him too. What a story. Unfiltered. You should read his book. He found me here in Florida with it, and I couldn't put that sucker down. On the poll question, Rhonda's watching in Swift Current, Sask. Glad you asked. The poll question is, are you ready for MLB season? Rhonda says, yes, I'm ready for MLB. It's brought to you by EMJ Marketing, which, by the way, Moose DuPont is on the EMJ Marketing roster. That's why he's not with us today. He's flying back to Sask to MC the Rams fundraising dinner with special guest speaker John Randall. Minnesota Vikings, great. Anyways, Rhonda says, yes, I'm ready for MLB. The Jays have to sign Vladdy or they lose the fan base. How stupid can you be? Sounds like John Frenzy, doesn't it? How dumb can you be? Just sign him, lock him up. Just sign him and lock him up. She says if the Dodgers stay healthy, they will dominate. I know Nick doesn't like the Dodgers. That's her nickname for Serena. But she says, but as long as she doesn't cheer for Yankee Doodles, I'm still her friend. Say hi to her for me. And she says Manoah's already on the IL. Scherzer is out with a finger issue. Sign Vladdy. It's our only hope. Well, you got to love the drama. I don't think that, well, I know the Blue Jays aren't going to contend, so the Vladdy drama is going to run throughout the season. And why we're talking about it is the season opened this morning. Nighttime in Japan, morning for us. The Cubs beat the Dodgers 4-1. Shohei Ohtani, 2 hits, 2 runs. The Cubs were the home team, so they're playing 2 over there. I'm assuming the Dodgers, they'll flip and be the home team tomorrow tomorrow morning. And then they're coming back. And it's just funny because I feel bad sometimes when I'm critical of leagues. I can't really help myself. But Dan Patrick this morning was talking about why did they have to play regular season games over there? Why didn't they go over there and play 2 spring training games over there? Because spring training's still going on here. They're going all the way to Japan to play 2, yet I'm going to the Blue Jays and the Pirates Sunday in spring training in Dunedin. So it is a little disjointed. But Dan Patrick's been doing it a little longer than me, but if I could give him some advice, just go with it. We talk about it here all the time. Nothing makes sense anymore. So just go with it. We'll be back with a sports update and viewer takeover the rest of the way. We're live on Game Plus Television, streaming live and podcasting wherever the best podcasts are found.